start. Okay, so we have some good questions today, and I have a lot of this question going on before. I like to record this so you can pass on to people that have questions. And this is nothing is like 100%. This is my opinion, and I just point out some my point of view. So it's not guaranteed that I can't control. Even the government, right, cannot control what the house is and all that stuff, right?
Right.
But I will give my point of view. You have some good questions, and I want to put it on the video, and so that way maybe other people out there may have the same question like you. You will help them out. Can you introduce your name, what you do, and all that stuff?
So I'm Carlos Lambert. I'm a school teacher in Memphis, Tennessee, and I was just asking questions about the housing market because I know a lot of people. They did make some advancements when the housing market boomed, and they were buying houses. Well, investors, of course, did really well, but just for the common people, they were just buying houses, single families, homes, and just wondering how that market value was going to hold for somebody that, say per se, bought a house that was maybe $250,000, but before the market really went on a boom, say that house was maybe about 175,000, 185,000, but it jumped so much in equity over a short period over a short span. I was wondering 2 or 3 years from now, 4 or 5 years from now, if that person family grows, they want to buy another house, they need a bigger house or something, with that household is value. And what's the likelihood? I know we can't see into the future or anything like that, but what's the likelihood of that home holding its value, or would that homeowner eventually be upside down if they decide to sell? Maybe even 4 to 5, 6, 7 years from now, would they be upside down in their house?
Okay. To answer your question, we can say, let's say the people bought a house like 2 years ago, right? 250. Just say for now they want to move, right? And that's what a lot of people stop because they couldn't do it right now, because if they want to buy a house like 250 right now, the house that they had before is the same house like that. Right now it may worth, let's say, going down because of the interest rate going up, right? It's only worth 200,000. But the house that they're going to buy, the house that was used to be like 350. If you're going down, that house going down too. You see what I'm saying? It's still going down to 300. So it's bottoming out. But here's why one of the reasons why the market going up so much compared to before. Before, a lot of people they just couldn't afford the house and don't pay the house because the interest rate so high. They gave the people that everybody boom up the prices. I'm talking about 10 years ago. The people, what you want to know the difference on that too, right? So the interest rate back then were like 9 or 6, 7%. If you get 6%, if you good credit, if you bad credit, we still give you a loan 12%. And then the price was so high. And then when all that people couldn't afford to pay, they're going to lose the house, and that's why the prices dropped so much. But now the people, whoever buy that house like 250, now if they're going to buy the same house, it will be higher, but the interest rate is so high, it's more than the house note, right? If they're going to buy the same house that it now was like, it was like 350, now they pay 300, but it was so much, and they couldn't afford it. So that's why, but they won't lose the house. They won't want to give up the house. Why? Because if the house that they have right now, the interest rate is 2 something, if they're going to let that house go, they're going to rent. All the investor want, because the investor pay like 10% interest rate. They want more money. Investor not in there to help you, right? They're in there to make money, right? If you're gonna sell the house and move out, you will be pay higher, and that's what happened. I don't think a lot of people have low rate. They don't think they're not gonna go out and let the house go. But like I do mortgage too. And instead of, this is one thing I do for people, the house price is still good because it's not about a house that going up so high, but because the dollar value losing money. You know, like the product, you know, Dollar Tree, right? Everything dollars.
Right.
Now it's $1.25. Why? Because everything that said your dollar right now is worth less. It's not the product going worth more, but dollar worth less. McDonald's, whatever you buy, I'm just giving you an example, right? You can buy a combo. It used to be like $4 or $5. Now it went up like 10, 20, 30%. Why? Everybody went up high. And that they, because one of that thing, why it because the market going up at this time of year, you know why? One of the reason is, let's say I have a friend, and this true happened, you know, Jack Queen, she bought a house like 4 years ago. 4 years ago, she bought a house like 270. And like whoever bought a house like whatever the price is, or 200. But because of the dollar lose value, now all that people have equity in the house. Let's say you got buy a house 4 years ago, you put zero money down. You cannot afford to go buy another house, but because of the market going up, people now that $200,000 home now worth $300,000. That's why they try to move up. That can change the house, and that's everybody. And then free money from government that supported some investor or people claim the money, whatever, legally, illegally, I don't know. But all the funds are coming out to buy the money. The stock market go back, they should try to go out and buy the money. For the people that really have the house right now, I say it's always good to buy better than rent. It's always good to buy better than rent. Because whoever buying the house, you always pay rent. You pay rent for somebody. Let's say if you're going to buy a house with 10% right now, okay? With 100,000, 10%, just say 100,000, you pay the bank $10,000 interest rate, right? The $10,000 a year on interest. I'm just saying for example. But your note is fixed rate. It still stay right there. If the market going down, you can refinance for less. That you about your house situation, you should refinance about when the market going down, your house value going up. You need to refinance right there. If your house have mortgage insurance, this is what one thing I have a lot of people that I'm coach and I mentor. That's what I do. You bought a house like I said 2 years ago. You pay for 200,000, right? And you put only 5% down, right? That means you pay mortgage insurance on that 15%. You know what I'm talking about? Or you lose. But right now you have what 300. You can call the bank up, and either they can come out and do an appraisal and remove your equity, remove the line of credit, or they can just go ahead and remove for you. But they don't do that automatically. You have to call them. I save a lot of people money that way. Yeah, mortgage insurance payment. The house one going up is good. You can take it off. If you don't sell, nothing lose to you at all. But you can move it up. Right now, the market is slowing down because all the people that want to buy a house, unless you have to move, then you move. But if you don't have to move, then people stay there and people won't let the house go because you know if you let your house go, you're going to pay more, right? But if people want to move up, they got to be prepared and know. But they still have the equity. Let's say your house you pay 100,000. Now it's go up to 50. Now go down to 200. You still have 100,000 equity in the house, and you're going to move up to a 300,000. You put 100,000 in. You borrow 200. Even the interest rate higher, but you know you're moving up. You pay more, and if you're comfortable with that, you still doing it. So people still buy and sell, right? It's just that the people that sometimes because of the market going up like that, people don't want to move. Now they want to move because how they have equity. Like my friend, she's about how 2 years. Now she got equity. She can trade the money. She still pocket some money in her pocket because her interest rate was like 6%. Now she can sell a house with a lot of equity. I'm talking about 2 years ago, right? And then she still pocket money and buy a new house with low interest rate instead of refinance. But with this market right now, what about 2 3 years? If you already own a home and the market going up, down, that's better. Why? Because if the government going to build your tax, the tax will be lower because your house value drop. But your payment will be the same or lower because you're taxed, right? So it's always better how you look at it and where you are. So I'm not recommending just people just buying because you want to buy, right? Depending on what your budget, what you can afford, right? Some people like you have a big family, you have 3 bedrooms, that's okay. I know there's people like two. You went to my neighborhood, there's like big houses, 7,000, whatever. That's only 1 or 2 people live there. The previous owner doesn't want people. Just depending on where you are or what you do. We used to grow up in 1 bedroom apartment for 6 people, right? But if people want to buy, like you say, it not really hurt them much because the house that they buy, you see one of my point?
Mm-hmm.
It's 250 now, it's only 200.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to sell the house, they have to get the money out from their pocket.
Right.
Then they're going to buy the other house that with 350 now it goes still going down, and that's still okay too. And people own free and clear, people have equity, they don't care because they know it's different. Mm-hmm. So that's why I told people, it's the a house is still good. The price that because they want so much on it. Like my brother's house, he paid 160 and it go up to like 300. And now people want to list the house. Every seller want to list more. That's how it worth 400. You work 400, nobody going to buy. It have to go down to like 350. I still showing how compared to the price that about a year or two ago, is the price still going up. But because a lot of sellers don't know the market list so high, and that's why they cannot sell. And that's why you say the house still dropping up. And they still got,
The price has been going up on property, what, about 2-3 years?
Since right after
about 3 years.
After the pandemic, right? After right when the pandemic hit.
So inflation normally lasts 7 to 10 years. So we're talking another 3-4 years. The price is gonna steadily rise because, like Dave was saying earlier, what caused the prices to drop the first time was people got into the home, really couldn't afford the home.
Give me the microphone. You can hold on to it. Just hold on to it.
So let me see where I started.
No, you have to hold it. You have to plug it. You can.
Okay, so let me see what I want me to start from the beginning. Where
Yeah,
I
you
started
said
with this. Okay, so at the beginning of the
Come here, Will. Go ahead. Go ahead and say it.
When the housing market dropped, it was because people were getting homes, living in the homes because they were producing fake documents, really couldn't qualify for the home. There was no kind of guidelines as far as like the mortgage and stuff like this, which caused a lot of them to be foreclosed. Then investors came in, they let the house go. They didn't have nothing in it no way. So they didn't care. First time home buyers, things of that nature, they really couldn't afford the house, you know, and they could find a place to rent just the same price. Now, if you lose your home, you know that your rent is going to be even higher. So that's going to make you hold on to that house. Number one. Number two is everybody that has those, that got the new loans now, got the right documentation. They're not trying to mess their credit up. And they're satisfied with the note that they got. So they're not going to move. And then if say there's a certain percentage of people that just lose their house, well, there's so many investors out here now with extra money, they're going to buy them up. And investors are not paying low dollar like they once were paying, like 4 or 5 years ago. They were paying like buying them on foreclosure and all this kind of stuff, HUD and all that. They're not out there anymore. So investors are paying high dollar for the homes. So the value decreasing is going to take 4 or 5 more years just based on the inflation. How it normally goes. Normally takes 7 to 10 years for things go to dropping back down. Right now we're in the 3rd year and everything's rising. So that's going to make the houses steady go up. That's what I think about it.
So if you had to predict, you're predicting that right now that we want to be out the woods from inflation and all these other things, housing market. You think that we're going to be here at least another 3 or 4 years? So
I think they'll rise another 5 years for the peak off and go to dropping back down. I think they're going to go up even higher.
So
because nothing's going to drive them down.
So when all of the if everything's keep going up for the next 4 or 5 years, right? Let's say that family that bought that house at this increased rate, let's say it's time for him to move because his family, her family got larger. So what's going to happen? Where are those houses going to sustain that price that it went through in inflation when the housing market went up?
It's going to do like the stock market.
So the price is going to drop. So when that house get appraised, like right now, go to appraise a house $300,000. When over these next 5 to 6, 7 years,
400.
huh?
Drive up to 400.
Say 400. So it's 400. So it's at 400. So let's say after these next 5 or so years, when everything starts back to level out, those $400,000 houses are eventually to drop down to about 300 or 250,000.
Right, that's about 250.
250. Okay. So then so that's going to make that buyer then upside down. So there's no reason for sure then he would not want to sell his house then, because he'll definitely lose too much money out of his house that he's going to spend from the jump, right? He's going to spend a lot of money.
Unless they have, like, if he had a good job and he had to move, a lot of company out there that we pay the difference. Right. That called relocation. Okay. Yeah. I'm certified REO and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And if the bank, if the government, I don't know that we or not, but what happened last time, they jump in and help out. They call short sale. And the lender, investor want to do a short sale, which means you sell. You know what short sale is, right? Yeah, right. Yeah. They sell less than what they own, and the bank will eat the difference. So they're bailing out anyway. If the buyer have enough education, they know what they're doing. So the best way, talk to the lender. I have the situation right now. Somebody that speak English okay, but because like she have tax and insurance together, and they're saying her bill, her tax increase coming up. She only $75,000 on the house. That's what she bought, and she bought 75. She owned like 69 and all that stuff. But because of the house was 200, but she didn't pay. The bank still take it away. They try to call her many times, but she don't, and they take it away. Now they're going to sell it back on the auction. Somebody paid $110 for it, so she actually, by law, actually that minus out 69,000 plus insurance, tax, and everything, whatever, 72. So she may pocket 40,000, even if she got foreclosed. But she needs to call them to get that money back. But if the market going low, you can call the bank and ask them. Try to get a settle with them to do a deed lieu or short sale. Or if that person have to move because of the job, if the good company, they come out and they help them out. I saw that all the time, right? So, but if people just want to move because they need more, they want to get better house, they should have the money. They have to come out from their pocket to pay for the difference, or they have to stay where they are. Right? Or if they get pissed off, they let the house go, and they go on out rent, they're going to pay more on the rent than stay at home.
So that's going to make them stay in their home. So another reason, like, it's a supply and demand issue. If the supply is low and the demand is high, that's going to keep the prices going up.
They try to raise the interest rate up, so a lot of people won't sell a house anymore, because in the last few years, people don't have to sell, but they want to sell because why? They got so much equity. Now they can buy bigger. They're going to do it. And they try to stop that people from just buying the thing that they couldn't afford. Right now, if you're going to buy the house back then at $400,000, you're going to pay, you bought a bank $400,000. Now you're going to, that note, the same note, you only need to buy $250 in order to pay the same amount of $400 last time, you know. So they qualify less. So that way kind of slow down the market a little bit to get from people buying.
Like last year, like not last year, a couple of years from now, I was out here in Vegas, went to the car auction. There's at least gonna be 1,000 cars out there. Well, I checked today the auction list. There was only 364 cars there, so it might get up to 400 in the morning for the auction start. For 400 cars compared to it used to be 1,000 selling, so they drive the price up. So now you got all the people with the car lots, still the same people. Still, it's more people want cars now because there's more people. You know. People don't like riding in a car with somebody else. They want their own car. All the car sharing and carpooling and all that different kind of stuff. That's not really being enforced a lot. So people want them to go ride in their own car.
I talked to a guy, he called one of the house in Fraser area. I mean, investor bought maybe 30, 40,000, sell for 120, but if you're going to buy that, he ran a house 850 back then. That house maybe 4 years ago, maybe 60,000. If he bought the house, he may pay 400 something. He say $600. If he paying to today, even 6% or 7% back then, he still got it the same. It's not going to go up much. But because he rented the home and the inflation going up so much, investor got control. So investor raise every money they renew. So they raise his house from $850 to $1,350 right now. So right now he's gonna buy that. He's gonna buy in Fraser area. He needs to buy a house. The house right now is still, it's not going up like it's supposed to be, but it's still like 130 something. People are still buying, but it's still good for him to buy. But because it would be cheaper to buy that house and then rent it, because he can lock it. And here's the thing: even the interest rate high, but you only pay interest based on what you own. Let's say your interest 10%. You own 200,000. You're gonna pay what? $20,000 in interest. But you got money to pay off 100,000. You still pay. Your note's still the same, but the bank only take the rest going to the principal. The bank only the bank only take $1,000 because I'm just saying $10,000 a year. So you cut it in half. But because you own in a home, right now you can pay more and pay off your house quickly than if you renting. You get no option.
Like last night, I watched this TV show that comes on called American Crime or Most Wanted or something like that, where it tells different people that run scams. Like one man and his wife got $17 million from the government illegally during the COVID situation. One person. Now they on the run, both of them are wanted by the FBI. They were staying in California and all this different kind of stuff. But one person got $17 million. So it ain't never been where the government gave away billions of dollars like that. See, but a lot of money circulating, again, that dropped the value of the dollar, like what he was saying.
That's right.
They were saying earlier. See, when you give away a lot of stuff, that drops the value of it. So the dollar not worth what it used to be worth. It already dropped down a little. Then they just gave away money, free money to everybody. Like almost like dollar was just a piece of paper, like money was paper. The way they was giving
That's what I heard. The one you get too much money to the people, like with all the government assistance stuff.
Right.
People don't want to go to work.
Don't want to go to work.
And what happened is they don't have workers to do the work.
That's
Usually, just all McDonald's or whatever franchise store that they have to pay more. If I have $7 you can't work, or $8 can work, they raise up the double price, $15 to hire people. So who's gonna pay for it? Well, they're not in there to lose money. They have to raise up. They make the hamburger smaller, but they have to sell higher to get a cost. They got to get money somewhere to operate. That's how business work. So I'm not in politics and all that stuff. I don't know how they're doing over there. But to my point of view, it's like there got to be more control, and people just like you just say, they gave $17,000 million to one person, but they don't do the diligence. They don't do the stuff. They don't do it right. Yeah.
Creating companies in dead people's names and opening up companies and opening up bank accounts, and they send in $100,000, $200,000 every bank account for the COVID to keep the businesses open. You just transferring the money to another account. You just opening up account after account.
I think what they
tax return for 2 years, go 2 years back, open up, get a business name, get a little telephone number, and open up a bank account and boom. Yeah. Send them $100,000, $200,000 every account that they open up.
So they need to do a better job on that. They should have done. And that was what happened 10, 15 years ago because they got programmed 100%. Right now, we do non-QM and all that too, but you got to put a lot of money down up front. Back then, they do not. You know, you can get a first mortgage, second mortgage. So people come in there just want to get a house. And a lot of lender out there that just try to make money that just told people to buy that the people cannot afford. And sometimes they got team up to get scammed. And if you lose in the news, they got some appraisers that you say they just bought this house, they flip the house right away. They're going to take pictures somewhere. And that's why they're changing about, you know, you got to wait 90 days and all that stuff. So it's kind of like slowing down, but because of COVID, one thing is raising up the market too, because a lot of people have they call consider free money. And they're going to buy out so much stuff. They buy a car, they buy a house, but they don't want